Welcome to Inside Track, because we're at the Motorsports Park, the New Jersey Motorsports Park in Millville, of course, and I have with me two very wonderful people. I have the director of the Cumberland County Board of Chosen Commissioners, Doug Albrecht. And Doug, nice to see you.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. And certainly one of the finest people I know, Tori Lods, who is the now county commissioner. And Tori is also an educator and has all kinds of background, and she's a wonderful mother with two handsome sons.
Absolutely, yeah. Growing like weeds.
Isn't it amazing? Yes. Well, and you've got good height, so that's a good thing. You're going to get that better. I always told my doctor, my problem has not been that I'm overweight. I'm not tall enough. If I were taller,
you just have to stretch out a little bit.
You got to get the rack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As it is. But Director and Tori, first of all, I want to commend you and the board for going transparent. Senator Selder and I were talking, or Senator Selder and I have, but Senator Testa and I were talking tonight about how important it is to be transparent.
Yes.
And you guys have gone to phenomenal transparency. Every meeting is televised, and it's also put on Facebook and YouTube, and it's all over, this area, so people know what's going on. You're not trying to hide anything, that's for darn sure.
And it's so important to try to reach people where they are, because everyone gets their news and their information in a different place. It's not 1960 and you sit down and you watch the evening news anymore. It's all over. So it's on the internet, it's on TV. To what extent we can reach people, we try to do that.
Well, it's amazing too. I've run the local channel for basically 40 years plus. And what's happened now, as you were just mentioning, the internet, the Facebook and the YouTube. I mean, I watch a lot of the shows when I'm in the car, or I'm not driving, but I'll stop and I'll watch it on YouTube or on Facebook.
I'll watch your show on the internet, online, right on Facebook.
We can actually get a number reading of how many people are actually watching.
Yeah.
Millville High School football won the state championship this year. We had over 500,000 views on Facebook and YouTube.
Wow.
Now they're sporting.
Well, they have a big fan club.
They do.
I'm a Bolt now, so I can say that. I know.
Wow.
Why don't we take it from there? Tell everybody what you do for a living.
Sure. So I sometimes call this, an evolution in public service, my career, right? And it started out working in the state legislature with former Senator Selta, working in Trenton, working on legislative items, and working with our constituents here in LD1. And that's where I really kind of learned, Jim, and you were there for that too. You were mayor at the time. How all the different levels of government work together, and how really important it is that we all work intergovernmentally, right? You can't just have the city alone, or the county alone, or the state alone, but it all has to really work together to have the maximum benefit for our taxpayers, right, for the residents that we represent. And from then, I really loved working, in state government, and I wanted to sort of give back a little bit to my community, so I got involved with Habitat for Humanity. I was their executive director for about 5 years. And I loved working with families, and that's kind of where I think the passion within me sort of got ignited to work with our students, to work with our kids. And I saw that as really the greatest need here in our community, where I could give back and where I could serve. So I flipped the whole script, and I got my teaching certificate, and I said, where can I be of the most good? And I landed in Bridgeton. So I really wanted to go where I was most needed. And I spent 8 wonderful years in Bridgeton, and I loved every minute of it.
Did you know my buddy, Vic Gilson?
Oh, I love Vic Gilson.
Oh my God, isn't he amazing?
I'm a big Vic Gilson fan, yes.
Yes, she is.
In fact, we just reappointed him to one of our committees.
Oh, did you?
And Doug said, I don't know who that is. I said, let me tell you.
Right away.
I said, he's one of the most phenomenal people I've ever met in education.
He really is.
Yeah, and the kids always loved him.
Yeah.
And
when you had, this was a funny story, when you had the person who followed Vic, I won't mention her name, but she was one of the most difficult people I ever had to try to even interview, and the board wasn't happy with her. So when her term was up, they let her go, and they brought Vic back because they needed the morale picked back up, because she had pushed the morale down.
And even as, and I say this with total kindness, if you're watching, but even as he was getting older and he did return back to that position, he had such a great relatability to the students. He would come into the school, and that's not easy to do, to relate to our students in Bridgeton. And he would come in with his baseball cap and had just really such a great rapport with our kids. And I always appreciated that. It doesn't matter what somebody looks like. It's how you treat the kids, and that's so important. And so 8 years there, and now I've moved a little closer to home, and I find myself as a Thunderbolt. So
Well, you've got everything covered. You live in Vineland, but it's real close to Millville, so it's probably, 5-minute ride to get to work.
Not even, it's about 3 minutes.
And then, of course,
6-minute walk up to the 3rd floor, though. Which is wonderful because, as you know, Millville High School has been expanded, and we had all of that, funding. And again, that's how intergovernmentally, works so well. And Millville was ready to go and was able to get those funds, and has really just done a tremendous job with the new building.
Boy, I've become very good friends with Tony Troncone, the superintendent of schools.
Good guy.
We talked about you, and he said, "Oh, she's great, doing a wonderful job." And I'm glad you're there. And you sort of you live in Vineland, work in Millville, worked in Bridgeton. You're a true county representative.
I love my county, I do.
We've got to get you to open a power place in Bridgeton and Millville, too, or something.
I'm in Bridgeton enough. I've a lot of the townships a lot. So, but it's, the business environment. But I like going to different places. So it's kind of nice to go and visit and talk with people, because you find out a lot by the solicited, their township committees. You go there, the committee meetings, and you find out what they're talking about, because usually what starts there ends up where we're at, and we don't know about it. So
as big as we are and as spread out as we are in South Jersey, we really are all connected. You learn that as you go around, even as you go into the shore areas in Cape May County and Salem County and Atlantic, you start to realize how we really are connected. So
I want to know who it was, you or Tory or Senator or what? All my friends are turning Republican. I just wanted to know what got them.
Well, I'm not going to say that, but
I know.
Honest to God, one of my very best friends in the world is turned, and then one of my other best friends, he just turned. And then this is cute. I get a call from Ken Wilden. This was last year. He goes, "Jim, I just want to let you know I'm turning Republican." I said, "Congratulations, you're going to win." He did. And then, of course, Mike Vissard.
Just did.
I think the world of him. So you've got really good people. And what's impressive is, to your party's credit, you got a lot of people out for this breakfast, and that keeps them informed, I guess, as well.
It's really been great.
As the senator might have said, that the breakfast, you have a congressman shows up, you have a senator in the room,
true.
You got your assembly people, you got your commissioners, you got your township committee people, you can show up at any time. You might have officials from North Jersey coming down that breakfast.
It's not a new concept. I mean, that started years ago. Actually, the Republicans in Cape May County used to do it. They would have the breakfast club. And that kind of went by the wayside, and I was so glad to see when Michael took over as chairman here that he picked it back up, because again, you started out with transparency, right? And talking to each other, and we don't really have that local newspaper like we used to have, and so that sense of local information has kind of dwindled. We're relying on social media, which is what's the reliability on that and the accuracy. So it's so nice that there's a place where people can gather and ask questions and get information that it's coming back, like you said, Doug. It's coming back from the congressman. It's coming back from the senator. It's coming from our county. We have our municipal officials. We have our commissioners from Millville. We have our councilmen from Vineland. Our mayors that come from all of the towns.
Some of the division heads are there to show up, so they can talk to that person. That person, that's your problem. Go over and see them.
I wanted to just commend you guys on putting Hal Johnson as county administrator.
Very good.
A super person, and I don't know Luz. I hear a lot of good things that I don't know her personally, but and Kim Cadaspati is
top notch. So
she is absolutely.
But I'll just say also that we reappointed John Carr, and John Carr has been a solid member of the team. Jeff Ridgeway.
I love Jeff Ridgeway.
Yeah, a solid person.
He really does his job well. Very informative, and I love how he delivers the information, because again, it's about that transparency, right? Get the information out. And sometimes you have people, I'm in education, I deliver information to people all the time. They don't always want to hear it, right? But he does it in such a great way, in such a user-friendly way that people really do understand it, because we don't want to talk over people. We want to talk with them. We want them to understand what's happening.
And I'll just mention one other person, Paige Naziri. She's been top-notch also. So we have a good, solid team that really come together.
She's HR. Yeah. Funny, I go all the way back with Paige to when she was the president of the Vineland Chamber.
That's great that they're involved, not just going things like community.
I mean, like last night we had our meeting in downtown, which was really, really excited because people came out and it's a different environment and people they feel comfortable talking. I had more people after me talk to me than they got up.
And then we get feedback about what's happening in their little area too, their little neck of the woods. Like the big oak tree is back. I'm so excited. Have you heard? The big oak tree. This was huge news.
Yeah, I know. I drove by and I forgot about it.
I feel so bad. I'm the one that let them take it down. Oh, that's why I'm out of their office anymore. The big oak tree.
We were all. I mean, that really a lot of people had, me included, had some odd connection to that tree, but it was a local landmark, and we used it in all of our instructions. To get from A to B. Make a left at the big oak tree.
And it's not there, but it's there.
If you know, right? That's local talk.
That is probably the most famous tree in Cumberland County.
But it's a connection to the original. It has a part. I mean, it is a piece of.
I think it's a silver oak. Was that it? They had to sort of find this tree, and they grew it a little bit, and so now it's there. So if you drive by, you'll see it.
It's a little farther back off the road for a reason, so people don't run into it. But,
so you don't have to say where the big oak tree was anymore.
That's fantastic.
But there's a partnership because it's on private property. It's not on the public right away, so it's actually the people say, yeah, sure, let's do that. So
that's a kudos to Mayor Rothman for getting that to happen, and
he's
done a great job. And that's what's nice about moving the meetings around too, is that we get to talk to local residents that are there, the local mayors and council people, and just kind of get some feedback about what's happening and start to come up with ideas if we can, partner in some way, be of help in some way, and just sort of draw attention to what they're doing as well.
A lot of our, not a lot, but some of our on our agenda is actually ideas outside the county that we're supporting. That we just had about the sonar the testing that we agreed it should be paused. And last night, unanimously, our board agreed that should be paused just to see if that is affecting things. So, and that's an issue that affects our Bayshore communities. I mean, I've had people say they can hear it, like the testing. I don't know how far away it is, but they've said it. So, what other issue? There was something else that we did to support. We see something, we actually make a statement on it, and I'm pleased to do that. So.
I think the tax credits, is that what you're thinking about?
Yes, for the local townships to get their money's collected. It's been taken, used to be collected and stay in the township. The state took it over and never returned any money.
Oh.
Well, they want that, well, can we have our money back? And so it's well worth. And we didn't want to know that. Some of the mayors called us and said, what about this? Could you support? Absolutely. I mean, if that helps our townships have a little more income so they can do their budget, why wouldn't we support that? So,
and that's that intergovernmental, aspect again, which is so important.
It's wonderful that you guys are there to help them. I mean, really and truly. Like you said, transparency is fantastic, and being able to go around in different townships and talk to the officials there. And there's a lot. Well, Senator and I were talking about, I think there's mostly every township is Republican. Only Fairfield and Bridgeton are the only two that are still Democrat. And that's a tribute to all of you guys to get your people out to vote. And, I think they like, obviously, a lot of the things you're doing, and that continues to be great.
Well, let me say this: we were in September going to go to Fairfield to have our meeting. Their building's not ready, but we actually the Nab Avenue Extension project touches on Fairfield, and they're a big part of the end of the Nab Avenue Extension. So, and also we're talking about, I don't know if I talked last time, but the Cohansey River, the Greenway, the planning. The main business corridor in Fairfield Township is the Grove Street going down, and so it affects them. So actually, they have a big part in this. So we're working on them becoming Republican because we're helping them. So
you guys are doing it. Cumberland County is becoming more like Cape May County.
Wow.
Cape May County has all Republicans everywhere, and I love Cape May County. Of course, I had a home in Seattle for 30 years, and Benny Desiderio is one of my favorite people.
He is fantastic.
He's got your position on the county. He's also the mayor of Seattle. You know how he's able to do those two things?
I have no idea.
I can tell you how he did it. And we could have done it in Millville. Now, what ended up happening is if you don't run in two elections, so the Seattle City election is in May, and Millville's election used to be in May.
Yeah.
We turned it to November.
Yeah.
So that's how he's able to have both spots. And let me tell you something. He's so great. He does a great job.
He is. He's been a friend for a very long time, Mayor Desiderio. Absolutely, yes.
We're talking with Tori Lods and with the director, Doug Albrecht from the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. We'll be back with Commissioner Lods and Commissioner Albrecht right after these messages.
New Jersey Motorsports Park. Experience the adrenaline rush of go-karting on our challenging tracks, with arrive and drive sessions, available for all skill levels. Looking for something even more daring? Try your hand at axe throwing, and see if you can hit the bullseye. After a day of excitement, relax at the Finish Line Pub Restaurant, and enjoy delicious food and drinks. Group experiences are also available, so bring your friends and family. For an unforgettable adventure, visit njmp.com to learn more and book your experience today.
It's Millville's bigger and better Independence Day celebration with live music, vendors, games, contests, and spectacular fireworks. Say Happy Birthday America this 4th of July, starting at 5 p.m. at Union Lake.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
New Life Church in Millville, New Jersey presents a musical celebration of God and country. Join us on July 2nd for our musical celebration of the independence of our nation. We'll celebrate our nation's freedom and our personal freedoms through our salvation in Jesus Christ. It happens July 2nd at New Life Church in Millville, New Jersey, as we celebrate God and country.
And how, as you know, Sharp.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. My special guests are the director of the Board of, I was going to say chosen commissioners. I got to be careful there. Board of Chosen Commissioners, Doug Albrecht, and Commissioner that's here with us as well as Tori Lods. And Tori, one of the things when you and Doug, I read about the things with the spirit and with the health situation. Tell us a little bit about that. And I know Amy Mansu has told me she'd like to have the two of you and us do a show in the fall because she's on vacation right now.
Because there's a lot to this. It's the initial thing is the county option, and basically the state of New Jersey was doing it elsewhere. I don't know how many counties, 13 or 9 counties.
I think we're 13. So there was initial 7, and then they added 5 more counties. And really, let's kind of say what it is. The hospital fee program is really just sort of focuses on counties that have a high need of health issues or population. The first 7 counties, they focused on population, and then they added an additional 5 that really had some major health needs that were very problematic. And so, of course, Cumberland County does, we rank number 20 out of 21, only to be beat out in the worst ways.
That's better than what I was hearing.
Salem County, yeah.
We're not stopping there.
See, I left Doug, and he went up one.
We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. And
16
hopefully,
is Atlantic County. That's what we're aiming for. So
I think we're pretty confident, too, that this will be a catalyst for that as well. So at this point now, Inspira finally has all eligible counties in the program for this. And what it does is it basically focuses the Medicaid dollars in the areas where there's the highest need. So we really want to make sure that the high need areas are getting their fair share of funding so that they can address and sort of address it in the bud, nip it in the bud, as they say, address those needs at the beginning before they turn into other issues. And in Cumberland County, one of our biggest issues, and some might be surprised, is teen pregnancy. Teen pregnancy and uninsured pregnancy. So you have young mothers or uninsured mothers who are not able to get to prenatal care, not able to get to their appointments. And the other issue is also behavioral health, mental health needs, where people cannot get to their appointments either. We are a very rural area.
The transportation issue we're dealing with. So,
correct. We're a very rural area. We do have the CATS bus service here, which is wonderful, but it's not enough. We need more. And a lot of those buses are being utilized for dialysis patients, right? Which is also important as well.
That's what Sue was saying. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Sure, and that's key. So there's these really key issues that if we can address from the beginning, and if we have that little bit of extra funding that can come from this program to address those issues and provide that transportation and some of the other needs that are there, hopefully these things don't turn into other issues, right? When you have a mother not getting prenatal care, now the mother might have compromised health issues. The child might have compromised health issues down the line. This, and that kind of dominoes into the educational world and everything else. When you have behavioral health issues, that can domino into addiction problems. We have some of the highest fentanyl rates here, people dying every day in Cumberland County. So, these are issues that if we can really tackle them, there's so many other things that could sort of be prevented. And
from this, as the hospital has really started talking with us and then all our department heads and the prosecutor office. So they're putting out, they have a mission statement where they're going. Well, it actually kind of blends with what we want to do. So, because they said they had an outline of what they were thinking, and we're like, oh yeah, that's our priority too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is what you guys are looking for. Yes. So we're really on the same path. In Millville and Milan, the homeless issue is a big problem. Well, the components of that, I said, let's tackle the components of mental health, drug addiction, and if we could tackle a piece of that, get a percentage of that off into something else, well, that blends with what the hospital's doing. Also, the mental health, working on the drug addiction. That if we tackle one part of it, and then all encompassing it is transportation, which affects workforce development. If people just can't. If you don't have a car in this county, you don't do well. So all that blends in. That if we work with them and work with this program and do our thing, which we're working on, maybe we'll be able to tackle something of that and make it better. So and we should see the improvements, because the homeless problem is a big problem.
Mm-hmm. And it's not. And what's great about it too is it's not the county that's attributing additional taxpayer dollars here. It's not coming out of our budget. But instead, what's happening is these certain procedures and these things that are going on that people are getting treated for anyway, who are either uninsured or under the Medicaid program, those. Basically, that money is going to the state, and then the state is then applying to the federal government for matching dollars, matching funding, and then that money is returned back to the county. So essentially, we are getting it's grant money, really. We're getting those matching federal dollars that's coming back to the county where it's being used the most. So if we have the highest need, we're going to get a little bit more of our fair share of funding from the federal government. So I think that that's really important, that we're being recognized for the needs that we have here by these federal programs, which sometimes, we know in the federal government, they're so big and kind of, far away from the end user that sometimes that money doesn't go exactly where it needs to. And so this really helps to focus the funding where it needs to be.
I actually have volunteered for the homeless in Millville, and this has been several years ago. And this bright young man, probably in his mid to late 20s, was just amazing. We're talking, I'm holding a conversation with him, really very delightful. And I said to him, his name was, anyway, I said, we'll say it was Wes. I said, Wes, why are you homeless? He said, Mr. Quinn, I'm homeless because I am a heroin addict. 6 months later, he died.
Wow.
So, I mean, it shows what you're saying, that the addiction problem causes them to be homeless because they can't hold a job, can't have a vehicle, things of that nature. Travis was his name, his first name. But he was from Upper Deerfield, and, you know, I don't know how he got to the homeless, he was in Millville, but he was there, and some really good people that are down on their luck. You know, it's one of those situations, or they have drug problems or alcohol problems.
Actually, I had a nice conversation with Rich Perrin. I don't know if you know.
Oh, yeah, I
Perrin.
do know
Rich Perrin. We started speaking probably a couple of years ago with veterans issues, but we got talking about the homeless issue. We were at the commission meetings or whatever. That they had a public meeting in Violet about it, and they considered not a B session. They wanted solutions, and we were talking about it at the commission meeting, and so I get a call from Rich. He says, you know, Doug, it's really kind of hit home. My nephew, who had a lot of issues, and I reached out there. I could share this. Had a lot of issues. Left home when he was 18 or whatever, and basically said that he was a drug addicted, and he wasn't even sure he was still alive. But he found him in California. But now he's a guy that's running the shelter programs there. Is working with homeless. Always working his drug addiction, but he's not on drugs anymore. And he was so proud of what his nephew was doing. He was honored by the state several times. But one thing he shared is that, you know, that the homeless have to be the people there have to be part of their own solution. And if they're included in, they'll surprise you how well they'll respond by giving the responsibility. And that's our conversation now. It's no longer about veterans sometimes, but now it's about what can they do and with tackling the homeless problem. And he's directed, and I've actually directed our people to find this guy and talk to him and see how they tackle the issue. And you know, it's a big issue around here, and we just have to address it and work on it.
And again, that's a lot of times, you know, again, that domino effect, right? Where does it all stem from? The homelessness, the drug addiction, the alcoholism, and a lot of times you can trace it all the way back to mental health and behavioral health needs and it going untreated. And when somebody is in that kind of crisis mode, I think that's been stigmatized for a very long time. And when you're in that crisis mode, you need it to be very easy to retain services. And then some people that are being treated, they also require follow-up care. You know, they need the caseworker to go to their house and check up on them and bring them to their appointments. And again, we're back to that transportation component. And when you don't have that and people aren't getting that follow-up that they need or the ride that they need to their service or their treatment, then all of these other things kind of ensue. So I think that, and this program will allow us to have extra money to address those issues. And actually, I think in the state of New Jersey, this is almost going to double the amount of Medicaid funding that's coming into the counties that are using it. Yes, I think it's
a little
about
over $1.1 million that the county will be able to have, but that also was $35 or $38 million to the hospital. So there's a lot of resources available, and as you understand, and it keeps coming back, transportation is one of our priorities.
Yes.
And that's why Sue Sorrows is in that division. Her mandate is to create a pilot run to start looking at areas where we have to tackle. I was talking about the city of Millville. We're working with them with the airport. And I happened to mention the rate comparison. Well, do you have any empty buildings on the airport grass that we can use for adult education stuff? And he says, yeah, Doug, we got buildings. So I went back to our workforce development person, Christy Leonardo. Christy, the first thing she says, Doug, there's no way to get there.
right. And that's the issue.
I was like, that's why we can't. Then there's a problem. We have to solve that problem. So along with the health stuff and then getting people to go to their appointments.
And another one of our big issues and it was an issue when you were on the board as well, is the jail.
Oh, jeez.
And
God bless you.
Right. I mean, and there are some solutions on the horizon, and I think that we're really getting somewhere. But another issue with that too is, sometimes people who are, have mental health issues, there's nowhere else for them to go. So they're going into our jail. They're taking up that space. They're taking up those resources. And so this is a way that we can save money too, and not have people going somewhere where they're not really being served. That's not where they belong.
And the hospital has applied for extra beds for mental. So there are, I think, 18 more beds.
Yeah.
So which is they see the need. And to be actually, when we were talking, I was going to ask that we're looking at our annex, and maybe we would actually, after the jail is done there, that we would look into the mental health. Well, they were doing it, so it was like, oh, well, this is good. It speeds it up. That they're on top of it. Jail is coming to a head, so it's.
Well, I want to talk about the jail, but I need to take a commercial message break.
Okay.
We'll be back with our commissioners, Doug Albrecht and Tori Lods, right after these messages.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Advanced robotics, experienced physicians. When it comes to minimally invasive surgery, we don't play around.
We're all looking for God. All the signs point to, there is really a God. We try to find Him in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of places, and through all kinds of things. But there's only one way to find Him. That's by personal experience with Him. Come visit us this Sunday. We can introduce you to Him. New Life Church, Millville, New Jersey.
Morale has gotten better over there.
Welcome back to Inside Track. I keep thinking my other shows around South Jersey, this is the Inside Track, because we're here at the beautiful New Jersey Motorsports Park. And I want to remind you, July 13th, I'm sure Doug and Tori will be here, a bunch of people, because it is a night that the mayor of Millville, Lisa Orndar, is going to be the celebrity bartender.
Yes.
And they're raising money for Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a great organization.
Mm-hmm.
But
He just had a birthday yesterday, so that's...
Yes, happy birthday, Mayor Orndor.
Lisa had a birthday?
Yeah, her birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday day late. I'm sorry. Facebook, maybe I hope I didn't miss it. Anyway, I'm excited to listen to the director and Tori tell us about what's going on with the jail, where you're moving forward.
Well, we can't say a lot, but it's coming to a head, and it's actually today I had a conversation and with someone. I'll leave it out, but good news. When we threw out, they liked the concept, so that's a good start. I'm being very vague on purpose, but some of the things that Tori can elaborate too is that.
Well, maybe a little bit of history too. Does everybody know? We all know. We've been sort of poring over this, the entire time we've been in office, and I know, in previous administrations as well. But there was, we have our county jail in the center of downtown Bridgeton, and it's been sort of added on to a couple of times, but there's different parts that are very dilapidated that have not been maintained, and that creates poor, inhumane conditions for the people that are there, and also, poor working environment for our officers, and we need to make sure that our officers, first and foremost, have safe, clean working conditions to be in, so that they can do their job. So. I guess, when was it, 2019, or that you guys announced that you broke ground on the new jail?
Before that was 2018.
2018.
4 minutes.
2018, the county did bond $65 million to build a new county jail, sort of behind the county library. That's the best way I can describe where it is.
Old county complex, yes.
Yeah, and in summer of 2020, kind of pulled the plug and sort of halted construction. So ground was already broken, some money had already been spent, and all the workers sort of were told to cap the site and cease construction. So there was already some money put into it, but nothing was finished. So we just kind of have a concrete pad out there, and everybody sort of pulled the reins back, and it's still kind of unclear what the decision, what was the catalyst for such a decision after you got so far in. But now there's just, now it's time to make a decision, right? So that's what we're trying to do, and we want to make the best decision for the long term.
So we did come up with a plan when we got in office. We took a short term, intermediate, and long term approach. And the short term, we were basically find out a place where, because our inmates were coming back when we got it, we stabilized that. We talked to different counties. We actually ended up staying with
well, our inmates have been going to Hudson County. I think that's very important to also put out there, is that's number one, that's really not cheap. It's not affordable. It's not convenient. It's not convenient for the families. It's expensive for the county, for the taxpayer dollars to be sending people there. So we really need that to stop now.
So, and the second intermediate was to start fixing up the jail we had to all the conditions you said. We started painting. Our doors didn't lock. Now they lock. The windows are fixed. The HVAC systems are fixed. The annex is the true holding pen, but they call it the new part of the jail is a place we're starting to get to now. It's where I guess a few, but we're trying to consolidate it more. And the old jail we've completely abandoned. So and we're doing the basic stuff.
But you can't get rid of the old jail because that's where all the wires kind of run through the electric. So it's very complex sort of. You think, oh, I got it, we'll just do this, but no, here's why you can't do that.
So we had like 4 options. We looked at them, we kind of narrowed it down to one. If it works, it'll be something special. One of the things, our parameters is that all our county employees that we have will have a job, all our officers will have a job at the solution. It also will be a long-term solution. It's not a shared service agreement. It will be a true partnership type of thing. And so there were 2 keys, and what I'm missing.
We want to make sure it's not far, so we want to make sure that it works for our local police departments. That's really important to us. Is that they transport them? That we are taking into account. They're on the front. The front lines for us. So we want to make sure that it's making sense for them and it works for them. So we're taking that into account. We're taking into account our officers who are actually in the jail. And we want to make sure that this works for everybody. But as Doug said, we are fixing up the current county jail because 2 reasons, right? Whatever we decide to build and whichever way this goes, it's not going to happen overnight. If anyone's tried to build anything recently, you know that it doesn't happen quickly, especially not in this day and age with so many, backlogs and back orders and things like that. So, and also it's county property and it needs to be maintained. The last thing we want to see is an abandoned, dilapidated building in the center of downtown Bridgeton. So that we don't want to see that at all. So we are maintaining the property. We are fixing things, cleaning it up so that it is a safe working environment for our inmates and for our officers, first and foremost, and that we can, continue to utilize that until we have our solution in place. But this has very much been a priority for our administration since we took over in January.
When I was there, George Castellini and I talked about outsourcing it, and let me tell you the numbers at that time, Doug, you were there too. If we could have outsourced it, say, to Atlantic County, we were putting out at that time $32 million was what it was costing us to operate the jail, and it was about $20 to $22 million to outsource it. The guy from Gloucester County, I don't know, one of the commissioners, we used to have South Jersey Commissioner Freeland, he sat next to me. And he said they've saved $100 million over the last 7 years because Salem takes all their prisons. But the other thing that's a benefit, and I hope I'm not going the other way from what you guys are thinking, the other benefit is our lawsuits. Doug, you know that. Yeah. My God, most of them cover the county jail. It's like all the time.
So at least 80% of our is lawsuits.
It's heartbreaking to see that this is, and we have to do it. We have to address them. So. And it's just a heartbreaking thing to have to go through and see that expenditure, that's really not benefiting the greater good. We don't want to keep doing that.
And many of our lawsuits now are focused on the facility we had and how
safe working
and people
suicides,
which so we're appealing
once we
about.
toured the jail, you can see how those things, unfortunate things, can happen, and that's not acceptable for us.
You had mentioned the gentleman that's your director for the jail.
Yeah, Chuck Albrecht.
Chuck Albrecht.
When we came in, we needed someone because the warden that was chosen was a shared service with Gloucester, and he was his contract was coming to end, and we looked around and interviewed a lot of people, and this gentleman stood out as a person who was knowledgeable, was very open, and he kind of fit what we were thinking. It was one of our other commissioners, Joe Cilio, met with him many times to kind of see, and he liked him. And our staff interviewed him and liked him, and he was very committed to he understood what we were trying to do. He knew all the issues we were coming through and still took the job. So
he has a wealth of knowledge that he brings with him as a former consultant in the jail business. And, I do love the idea of shared services. Usually when you have a shared service, you can save taxpayer money, and that is always the goal, where we don't operate in a silo. Let's work together. Anytime we can do that, that's great. But as far as a warden being a shared service, that didn't work out, because that means that his time is also shared. So he's only there part of the time, and you really need somebody that's there full time, all hands on deck, watching over everything and really monitoring and building morale there too. That's so important. And I think, I work in the school systems, right? So morale, you can see, it changes the whole dynamic of the experience for everyone when morale is down. And it's pretty interesting how good leadership can change that.
And you see that it's not, it's not way up here because there's so many other factors against, but you could see that just because of being transparent and being upfront, people telling them why you're instituting a policy, discipline, they understand that. And we have good employees, good people that work hard, and they understand that they want it to run well. So this is kind of going hand in hand, and they know there's a solution on the horizon. So they're also understanding that we're doing little things and smaller things, but we're trying to get it going. And it's rubbed off on everybody. I'll just say this, which is neat. I was told yesterday that we're hiring 6 new correction officers. We haven't hired in ages, so 6 new. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but we are committed to put at least 10 to 20 more officers in if we can find them. You know how hard it is to find them.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So but 6. So
and that is so important. It really is to make sure that every corner and every nook and cranny is covered, so we don't have some of the issues we've had in the past.
We've also we're starting to negotiate the contract, but modeled off of the sheriff's department contract, we've brought our officers up to at least close to where everyone else is starting, nice. And they've seen it, and there's morale there has changed because they feel appreciated.
Yes.
I don't know them well, but they understand that we actually did something different than. But we said, no, you got to be up here because we need to attract people.
Yeah, exactly. How
so
and
after the PBA is the last contract PBA for the correctional officer. But once they're done, and once our guys are started to talk, I think this week or last week they started to meet, that we're gonna, and when we settle that, they're gonna understand that everything we've said we're doing, and this is just another step, and then we're gonna go out and market more because now we should be up to par with any agency around us, and hopefully for the future we're building that we have enough officers to do the job, and I think everything's a pendulum, and I think it's starting to swing the other way, and I think people understand it's a good career to be in. So I'm kind of psyched because this is what our number one priority is, to solve this issue, and I wish I could say exactly, but it's close, and as long as everything, knock on wood, goes well, we should be able to say, hey, here's what we're going to do. It may take a few not to implement, it'll take a little time, but we'll know this is where we're going. This is what we're doing.
Happening. And to your credit, Doug, I was impressed when last time we talked, and you were talking about where you were looking at Leesburg.
Yeah, so
that was a smart thing, outside the box. I mean, and it certainly had some merit to it. But you know, and you've got your people giving you advice, and you're looking at it, and everybody's coming together and trying to do what's best for the county and for the
And I think that's a great thing. And the whole board right now, you know, not just the four of us, but the entire board is really very open to new ideas. We're all working very well together. And that's so important, because that's our main job, right? Is to work together for the taxpayer. And so I think everyone's really working together well, staying very open-minded about, you know, every idea that comes to us, and you know, we're willing to, you know, seek out and entertain.
It's been interesting. Of course, Carol and Donna I've known forever, and Johnny Cap is one of my best buddies. I think the world of him. And it's nice to watch the seven of you interact, and there's respect on both sides, and there's, you know, that's a good thing. Because Chuck Fisher always said, when he was the freeholder director, and I was your age, and I was on the freeholder board, and he used to say, Jimmy, we leave the D's and the R's in the car, and we come in here, we represent the people. And to your credit,
it's true.
All of you, I see that it's not being a political situation, it's being a people situation.
It's about good governance, right? Exactly. Good governance and leadership, and I think that I'm really proud of our board for being able to do that, because that's why we do this, right?
Yeah, sure. You're here to help people.
That's right. If we work together, one of us may have the idea that works. Like, that's great. Let's try that.
None of us got into this to have, you know, political fights, right? We did this to help people and to serve our community. So that's what we're doing.
Good job.
Yesterday, I just want to mention the library had its open house. All the improvements we voted.
Yes, right.
They got done. It's a beautiful facility. They had the head librarian for the state down, and you could see the activity around because it's built for the teens, it's built for the little ones. Interactive with
they made a lot of advancements. You can even check out laptop computers, which I know is huge for a lot of our students.
Oh, gosh,
our students, since COVID, everybody gets a laptop from school, but they have to turn it in over the summer, a lot of them. So this is a really nice option for students to go in and take out a laptop to be able to do work over the summer. And also, you know, people who are looking for jobs. You know, the classified ads aren't in the newspaper anymore. You know, you have to go on all of these job search engines and apply for jobs. So all of that is available there in a really beautiful setting. So
they'll teach you programs. You go there, you learn Excel or Word. They'll teach you classes, and
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it's a library, but it's not the traditional library, and I, you know, it's really because. From day one, I was on the library, liaison on the library, and Donna and I talk all the time, because when we go to that board, it's exciting when you leave, because there's always like, whoa, they're going to do this. This is going to be good. And I don't. Jake's Park, which we passed, the building Jake's Park. Jake Park is going to be built in front of the library.
Oh, that's nice.
But so I'm excited about that idea. But all of a sudden they go, well, Doug, you know, when that's built, we're going to put stories on the outside that lead people back into the library. I'm like, what are you guys going to do? I'm like, they're going to put stories. I'm like, wow, that's a great idea.
It's a win-win.
Well, having that sort of the multifaceted, you know, entertainment that's there. I know even myself, when my kids were little, I would take them to Millville's library, which is also getting a rehab, you know, a refresher. But I would take them, we would park actually behind the library. I would take them across the little footbridge, and we'd go to the park. And then come back and finish up at the library, and they would check out their books or do whatever event was there. So it's really nice for young families to have these resources in the community.
We're talking with the commissioners and the director of the Board of Commissioners, Doug Albrecht, and Tori Lods, who is one of the county commissioners, and we'll be back to wrap up our program right after these messages.
The New Jersey Motorsports Park is hosting a celebrity bartender event with Millville's Mayor Lisa Orndorff on Thursday, July 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Finish Line Pub. This event, open to the public, will feature specialty drinks with portions of the proceeds donated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of New Jersey. You can scan the QR code to make a donation. Remember Thursday, July 13th from 6 to 8 p.m., the celebrity bartender event with Mayor Lisa Orndorff at the New Jersey Motorsports Park's Finish Line Pub.
New Jersey Motorsports Park. Experience the adrenaline rush of go-karting on our challenging tracks, with arrive and drive sessions, available for all skill levels. Looking for something even more daring? Try your hand at axe throwing and see if you can hit the bullseye. After a day of excitement, relax at the Finish Line Pub Restaurant and enjoy delicious food and drinks. Group experiences are also available, so bring your friends and family. For an unforgettable adventure, visit njmp.com to learn more and book your experience today.
It's Millville's bigger and better Independence Day celebration with live music, vendors, games, contests, and spectacular fireworks. Say Happy Birthday America this 4th of July, starting at 5 p.m. at Union Lake.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. Jim Quinn along with our commissioners, Doug Albrecht and Tori Lods, and we've been talking about a lot of great things from the county perspective, and very impressed with what you guys have been doing and and we talked about the people that you've selected, and that's the key too. You've got some really great people there as well. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, we want people that can do the jobs that we give them to do and do them well, because they have an interest in it. They have a background in it. They have a skill set that kind of fits that, and that's what makes people excel at what they do. We want people to do well at what we ask them to do. So.
And you had a lot, Doug, on your plate. Tori, same thing. When from what was left to you from the jail situation was very difficult, thing that I know you're working on that. What other? Well, we talked about the mental health. That's something I don't know if growing up, people would say, that guy's an Ancora. That was where our mental health unit was, psychiatric. But now Bridgeton Hospital, the Bridgeton Center, is where the mental health unit is for Cumberland County.
I don't know if I said it, but they're looking to expand it when we got talking to the so and it's needed. The Baker, we've talked about in the meetings, the Baker Act, which is a Florida law that allows more time to hold someone, which may give them time to recover or sober up. We mentioned that in our meetings. There's some pros and cons about it, but I think we're I won't speak for the board, but I don't know if we voted on with support or push it forward, because the New Jersey law is pretty close to it's just the time frame. So that, and actually Hal Johnson, as a former judge, said that if he had that as a tool, he could have helped more people, but he was under constraints, and I only have this much time. And you remember having families beg him, please keep them let them get help, and that's
sometimes it takes that time, for families too. I mean, unfortunately, this is a topic that is very close to home for me. I've had a lot of friends and even family members, who have struggled with this and lost a lot. So, and sometimes you need that time to address the needs, to convince the person who is suffering or struggling to get that help. But we don't want it to end there, because that's the other thing, as Doug says. That can be an extra amount of time for them to be held. But after they're there and they're treated, we want to make sure that that's followed up with. You can get that treatment and then be released, but you're just going to go right back to where you started if there's not that follow-up. If we don't have the caseworkers that are going to go out there and say, hey, you got to do this, and you have to do your treatment, you have to go to your appointment. So again, back to that transportation issue, back to funding the caseworkers, and we want to make sure that there's that follow through on all of it.
Tori's absolutely correct, and we're not going to do that. It's no sense doing anything. So you have to, if they're going to kick the habit or you're helping them mentally, you got to carry them all the way through until they really are on their own. They can function. They function. So
it's tough.
I did want to mention to the public about we are the Middle Mile project. We just received a grant from the federal government, which we applied for. One of the few areas they got it, over $24.1 million to help. As everybody who lives in this county, there's many issues that affect communication. I believe that it can move us 20 to 30 years ahead to make us par with any county, which we're lacking. But it has to be done right. It has to be. And with that, we're still trying to work out because we have to accept it a certain amount of days that we've always promised that the public would have input, and our commissioners that have not been in the middle of it also have input in what we're trying to accomplish and why. So this next coming up months, we're going to try to get together in some closed sessions to talk about it, and then right out to the public. This media hopefully will be there to have questions, so that they know what's going on. People at home can hear the questions being asked, and the answers. Hopefully, they're good enough answers to say, "Listen, we have to do it, or we don't do it." So,
and I mean, I know Jerry Velasquez talked to me when I was still a commissioner about the middle mile, and I don't totally understand it, but I know there's something that goes.
Well, you want it to be the right choice. You know,
Exactly.
It's wonderful that you have this grant money, but you want it to be the right choice for the county and for the taxpayer.
I mean, I wanted to mention Marshall Township did partnered with Comcast,
and
as well as Hopewell.
Yeah, that's right. Hopewell did as well, and of course, you know,
75% of the cost is being bared by those communities, so it's not free. So
yeah, no, I see. That's why I was wondering. Again, that may be another option to look at besides the middle mile, but I don't know.
And there are there's a couple of options, and that's really what we have to carefully look at, because there's no clear answer.
Yeah,
you know,
and I'm glad that you're going to study it. Thank God you've got the grant. You know,
we had actually the last 3 or 4 months we actually been going around meeting with different groups, getting different.
That's good.
There's a lot of opinions, a lot of different ways of looking at it, but I think we're getting a handle of it. Our administrative staff has gotten a handle of what we're looking at. It's now that let the commissioners get an idea to understand what we're trying to do or what can be accomplished, and then the general public to ask their questions to see. This thing has to stand on its own. Can't be a draw on the county long term. It has to produce what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
And if it does that, then to me, it's worth a shot for the money we're giving and for the money they're asking for us. It can do wonders. And when we just came out with COVID, how bad the communication was, and as the education, how it suffered during this period of time. That's how important it is. You know,
public education is supposed to be the great equalizer, and in 2020 it was the great divider, because you know, there were so many connectivity issues, technology issues. So we don't want to ever see that happen again. And obviously this is the wave of the future. It thrusts education, I think, forward about at least 10, if not 15 or 20 years.
Yes.
And so we're all kind of catching up, and we want to make sure it's good that we have options. And we want to make sure we make the right decision for the community.
Guys and gals, thank you so much for coming in. Doug, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I have to do one plug before we go.
All you want,
you know,
you got a couple
because it
minutes.
is my committee, is the Fairgrounds Committee.
Oh,
so,
that's right.
The Cumberland County Fair. This is fair season, and for those of you who don't know, actually, the Cumberland County Fair is the longest running county fair in the state of New Jersey. So that's something we're well. Of course, you knew that, right? So that's something we're really proud of. But it does open on Tuesday and July 4th and runs all the way to July 8th. So I won't steal Mayor Orndorff's thunder with her hometown 4th of July. So if you don't make it out on Tuesday, that's fine, but please do stop by the Cumberland County Fair. They have some great things that they've been working on.
A lot of improvements, and it's been very, we had a record turnout last year, and the weather's good. We'll really do well again, and they do a great job. The fair.
They do.
So put it on the calendar and make sure everybody gets out there this week.
July 4th it starts, and
to the 8th.
To the 8th. It is a great thing to take the family. It's a fun time. We have, I guess, amusements of America.
All of that is out there. Lots of great food vendors, and they've really tried hard to make a balanced kind of all different options. So I think we'll be out there on Wednesday the 5th around 4 o'clock for the opening ceremonies.
Oh, that's good. Nice. Congratulations.
It's going to be great. So come on out. You always come out to things. Anyway,
that I would enjoy. Actually, trying to think. What do I have to do? Oh, a doctor's appointment.
So, all right, blow it all.
Do that first.
You said 5 o'clock?
I think it's 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock on the 5th.
I can make it. The doctor's 2. So
but the fair's there all week from Tuesday to Saturday, so come out and enjoy.
So, again, thanks, guys, for being
here. Thank you. All right.
Anyway, our guests have been Tori Lods, Cumberland County Commissioner and Director of the Commission Board of the Directors. I want to keep saying freeholder, but it's county commissioners.
It's okay. Old habits die hard. I do the same thing.
We accept the freeholders.
Albrecht, and we thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us this evening on our Inside the Track here at the New Jersey Motorsports Park. I want to thank them for hosting the event, and look forward to the July 13th event that'll be here with Mayor Lisa Orndorff as the celebrity bartender and come out and donate for Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's a great
Well, we'll see you
cause.
there.
Yeah,
We'll be
see you
there.
there.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to be televising live from there, so
oh,
say hello, guys, as
All
well.
right, sounds good.
Thank you once again, everybody, for being with us. Have a good night. Thank you to Ryan Borowski for producing the show tonight. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
New Life Church in Millville, New Jersey presents a musical celebration of God and country. Join us on July 2nd for our musical celebration of the independence of our nation. We'll celebrate our nation's freedom and our personal freedoms through our salvation in Jesus Christ. It happens July 2nd at New Life Church in Millville, New Jersey, as we celebrate God and country.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.